Salve a tutti e benvenuti e bentornati sul mio canale. Io sono Sonatok e rieccoci su The Break, che a questo punto mi sembra sia chiaro non trattarsi solo dell'incidente, quindi di questo relitto, ma anche di come è andata la nostra storia, la storia della protagonista. Un qualcosa che ha distrutto tutto. Un incidente continuo. Perdonate se lo scorso episodio è durato
You
meno,
rem
ma
she had built it
caspita,
herself in
le emozioni
secret.
erano forti, le sensazioni
It was
erano
really
forti e ci
detailed. There were
tenevo
even
a
miniature
bloccarle
figurines of
prima che
Alex and her for you to
esuberassero dal
play with.
tutto. Quindi faccio questa piccola opening
Of course
ricordandovi
you
che questo
remember.
gioco tratta
You
di
took to it immediately.
qualcosa
You were making up all
davvero,
kinds of
davvero
stories about daily
importante,
life where
davvero
you were the
forte,
hero.
che cambia da individuo a individuo. Di conseguenza non dovete viverlo per
It's true.
forza, fatelo
I did it.
semplicemente se vi sentite di
I
essere
stole your
forti in
house
questo
from Alex
momento e di riuscire
and
a
threw it
sopportare
away.
e sentire, e
I don't
perché
know
no,
why.
magari avere una
Could you forgive
soluzione
me
a tematiche
if I
così
had a
potenti,
really good reason?
a tematiche che possono prenderti e strizzarti il cuore. Quindi scopriamo Pauline,
This is Pauline, your father's new girlfriend. Actually, we've known her
poverina
since
tra
high
l'altro,
school, but I haven't seen her in a while. When I
cioè,
went to Alex's house, I was kind of hoping I would get to see her. I was. She's a great girl, you know. I'm sure your dad will be happy with her.
e la cosa terribile è che invece Alex, a quanto pare pensa ancora a noi. Povera Pauline.
She's one of those people who hasn't lost their sense of wonder growing up. In that regard, she actually reminds me of you.
Che cosa bella. Non ha perso praticamente la magia durante la sua crescita. Non sto comandando io la telecamera.
Your dad is still making video games, but he quit the big company he used to work for. Now he's making a game on his own.
Sì, l'avevo capito dal
I don't
fatto
know
che gli
much about it.
servisse la casa
I
delle
think
bambole.
it's about you. In a way, every game he ever worked on talked about you. The games you were playing
Sono stati
together actually
alcuni
gave
giochi
him
che abbiamo
tons of
portato sul
ideas
canale
for
che
his
erano
work.
riferiti a delle bambine, a dei bambini creati appunto dall'amore di un parente. Mi sembra di ricordare So One e The
He
Companion
started doing it
anche.
at work, just so that he could meet his deadlines. Sometimes we did it together, at parties for fun, but when we knew that you were coming, we stopped. And that's why I was surprised to see some at his place last week. He tried to hide it, but I laughed in his face. I'm not his mom. Still, though, I thought to myself it was.
Io mi meraviglio sempre di te, come protagonista. Eh, questa sequenza è così particolare. Nel vedere una casa nelle bambole, nella casa nelle bambole. Non vi suona il tutto in una maniera incredibile di finzione? Fa quasi paura un qualcosa del genere. Immaginate di fare, vorrei dire un sogno, ma no, è un
I thought
incubo.
Alex had
Un
gotten
incubo
rid of
del
that
genere.
house when he cleaned out your room. After you passed, I never wondered where it was. I just forgot about it.
Ora sappiamo finalmente a chi sta parlando. E caspita, questo per Astrid mi ricorda tantissimo. Ah, i giochi di Kangao. You
Some people
Passed.
say that the dead haunt houses. I was afraid that you would haunt that one. Afraid to hear your voice if I stared at it for too long. Place with his new girlfriend about a year ago. He looked happy. Suburban homes aren't my thing, but I was relieved that he had finally left the apartment where the three of us had lived.
Per certo è una cosa bella allontanarsi da quel posto perché a priori da tutto avrà per
When I
certo
learned that Alex and
momenti
Pauline were
orribili
moving in together,
e ricordi.
I thought he had turned the page. Do you want to know what I felt? It's I think I was impressed. Once more, your father had demonstrated that he was stronger than me, and I'd like to say that I was happy for him, but in truth, I am.
Il problema forse è il concetto di forza, che continui a sentire tale
I
quanto non è.
pictured Alex alone in his office, using his job as an excuse to play with your house. I found that pitiful. didn't fit at all with the idea I had of him, always moving forward, never moping around. And then I realized that maybe he wasn't telling me everything.
Ho
Your
detto,
father
questa
had
ragazza
everything.
manca
A
davvero
new
tanta empatia.
girlfriend, a nice house, his life on track. Meanwhile, I was over here toiling, slowly crawling out of the hole. And I needed to see him so he
Hai un
could
nuovo lavoro
comfort
però.
me. Just like before, I thought he owed me that.
Continuo a non capire allora, se non per disperazione o comunque qualsiasi cosa sia successa, come tu possa essere tornata da lui,
Alex
distruggendo
was
anche la sua
cold.
relazione.
Not just because of the blow, it was like he'd been crying. I tried to talk to him, ask him how he was doing. He just dodged the question. So I insisted, but he said he wanted to show me something, and he started a video game. Something called Night Call. A murder mystery noir where you play a taxi driver. It was really good, but it's hard to have a conversation with a controller in your hand.
Condivido, è davvero difficile riuscire a fare entrambe le cose. Da quando ho aperto YouTube, nel senso che sto caricando video, vi posso dire che il mio metodo di giocare è diventato per certo meno efficace, perché nel parlare, nel dovervi intrattenere, parlarne, beh, il tutto si complica, soprattutto dopo ore e ore. Quali sono i miei gameplay?
We had a great night in the end. We drank beers, we played, we laughed.
Continuo a non
And
capire
after a
Paolin.
while, I thought
Scusate.
about telling him the truth. But instead, I kissed him. He kissed me. And more. It was very nice. Much more intense than it used to be. And it made me want to cry because that was way too late.
Non condivido per nulla questa parte, però posso per certo capire cosa è successo. E ora capisco anche perché hanno relegato tutto a una casa di bambole, per non mostrare determinati comportamenti, per quanto naturali, magari avrebbero ristretto l'età giocabile del videogioco. Ed è un peccato, per quanto, insomma, dubito che un bambino mai può comprare una cosa del genere, perché è davvero... Ti mi odia, lo amo, lui mi ama, e questo? I hate him. Posso scegliere?
Perhaps I threw away that house because I was mad at Alex. His whole stuck in nostalgia thing, I found it incredibly.
No, sono da scegliere
Perhaps I
tutti.
threw away the house to
Ecco perché
shake
sono
up
così
Alex, to get a reaction from him,
ingarbugliati.
so he could be mad at me, so he could snap out of his lurk.
Ed è anche bellissimo come il tutto è rappresentato nella spazzatura. Davvero
Perhaps
queste
I
piccole
threw
cose,
away that
ragazzi,
house
per
because
quanto
I was
naturalmente siano le
jealous of
prime cose che vengono
Alex's
in
new life.
testa nel
In fact, I
rappresentare
might
un
have wanted to
passato
show your father
orribile,
what he was losing
beh,
by losing
fa
us.
la differenza. Il rappresentarla in un determinato modo è qualcosa di
Perhaps I
bello.
threw away that house because perhaps I thought he
Forse
needed
un
this old
altro
relic out
vuol
of
dire
his
che lo
life,
sviluppatore, gli sviluppatori
like he needed
hanno
me
badato
out of
anche a
his.
questo.
I'm sure all of that contributed to my reaction to a certain extent.
Direi
I was jealous, a bit petty, conflicted, and on top of that, I was a dollhouse. But there was something else, something that really hurt me, and that I'm only understanding now. I was ashamed.
che percorso.
I came to demand support from Alex. I thought it was unfair that he was already happy again. But when I came
Semplicemente
across
perché
that
neanche lui era
dollhouse,
preparato a tutto
I
ciò.
realized that he missed you as much as I did, which is actually why I threw it away. That's the reason the dollhouse was proof that for years I was ashamed to only realize now that he too was hurting.
A me stupisce più che altro come tu non abbia potuto pensare prima a quelli che possano essere i sentimenti di un'altra persona che è stata al tuo fianco, che ha vissuto i tuoi stessi traumi.
Don't you think?
How how is this possible? How
Eri
did I
troppo
not
concentrata su te
realize
stessa, o
that he was
forse
hurting
sul
too?
non voler
And
sentire
how
una
come
parte
he
di
never
te.
told me about it? Well, how about you, Alex? Should we talk about that?
What? What do you...
How many times have we talked about Astrid together? About her death? Dozens of times? Hundreds, maybe?
That's because we needed to.
I needed that. That was the only thing I could talk about, and Alex was always there to listen to me. To check how I'm doing, to inquire about, to assess, to ask if there was anything else he could do. And I never asked him any questions. Are you sure about that?
What do you mean, am I sure? You were devastated.
And you? How did you feel?
Per la
Come
prima
on,
volta, a quanto
again with this
pare.
shit. Pauline is always trying to make me talk to. I don't have anything to say. What am I supposed to say?
Forse Pauline è
There's
molto
no way
più
you never felt the need to
perspicace
talk about those
di quanto
feelings.
credi, Alex.
That whole time when you
Capito che
finally
è
got
un
me to calm
blocco,
down and
un
fall asleep?
mistero, un qualcosa che
How did
tieni
you
dentro.
feel? What?
I don't know. I can't remember. Why are you dragging this up now?
Because I never thought to ask you back then.
Well, that's all right. It's not your fault.
He's still doing it. He's still trying to protect me all the time. He needs to understand that things have changed.
Ma sono cambiate davvero?
Yes, it is my fault. You were alone with your sadness. But now I'm thinking to myself that it wasn't, I just realized something and I'm so ashamed about it. You're hurt too, and that didn't even occur to me until now.
I was thinking about you.
Not about Astrid?
When I was alone at night, I was thinking about what I needed to do to help you get better. That's all I thought about.
Tuttora quindi pensa a
You
come
needed me
sollevarci, a come
to get you
proteggerci.
going. And now that you're no longer here,
I lived in fear of everything for a long time. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of making mistakes, fear of not being good enough, not smart enough. And Alex,
In una costante paura, quindi.
at least
Paura.
as long as they were all in my head. But since what happened to you, I haven't feared anything. Perhaps because I don't have much left to lose.
Non so se veramente possiamo permetterci di prenderci cura di noi. Una cosa è certa però, dobbiamo provarci. E se questo dirlo ad Alex, se questo dircelo, può in qualche modo aiutarci ad essere un primo step per realizzarlo, perché no?
I can take care of myself. You were the best support one could hope for, and that's why I now feel confident to do it on my own. You're free now.
free from what?
Free to face your own emotions and deal with them, to heal your own pain.
Il metodo che stai utilizzando è
If I
terribile
ever
però.
think too much about her, about how much I miss her, I have to stop. It makes me dizzy, it scares me. I'm pathetic.
Of course you're not. I understand.
Last week to me that was just like before.
Alex?
Sapete quanto può essere
Are
dura
you
per
still
Alex
there?
aver vissuto l'amore di una moglie in quel momento e cercare in qualche modo di credere in tutto quello che stai vivendo e pensare a quei tempi andati. Quindi prendetela molto, ragazzi, da un punto di vista di cuore, non di testa, naturalmente, per quanto sì, anche e soprattutto quella è complice. Vivere quel momento con Pauline è come tornare a quei tempi in cui la famiglia era unita, quando Astrid era ancora presente. Perdonate questo mio parlare spesso durante questa tipologia di giochi, ma ci tengo a esprimere il mio punto di vista, a esprimere quello che sto intuendo e capendo. Magari è sbagliato e ci sta. In tal caso sarebbe bellissima la vostra reazione a riguardo. Ma in ogni caso spero che invece vi faccia piacere. Spero che dia contenuto a quello che voglio portare. Dopotutto io sono qui per raccontare i giochi con voi, per viverli, secondo il mio punto di vista, alla mia community. Ed è questa la cosa che mi piace. Quindi spero che sia cosa gradita.
Marie had this weird
E
rule back home.
spero che sia una cosa
You
gradita e
only get to
ricordarvi che
cry once.
c'è una povera ragazza, Pauline, che è rimasta sola in tutto questo. Ferita, probabilmente. Almeno quando saprà il tutto.
It didn't matter the reason, from bike falls to headaches to world. She had this theory that there are two reasons one might cry. Either from surprise, when life sucker punches you, or you only get to cry once from surprise, she used to say. And, well,
È tutta sua
I thank
madre,
you for
questa donna.
sometimes you cry because you've mustered up the courage to look at life how it is.
E quale sarebbe il problema? Ha detto che è libero. Questa è la nostra emozione, è giusto
Are you
provarla.
okay, Alex? Oh, look at me. I'm about to win the contest.
What?
The world's dumbest question contest.
Ah,
Oh crap, Junon, I'm so sorry. You don't owe me anything. I guess I should leave you alone.
Yeah, well, haven't exactly made it easy for you.
But I'm not doing well, okay?
Wow. You don't get these heartfelt moments from me.
allora. Io continuo a dire che forse sono io che non capisco il doppiaggio di questo gioco, ma boh, personalmente mi sembra che dar la voce a questo personaggio sia complicato e doveva essere un susseguirsi di emozioni e pensieri. Invece mi sembra costantemente una voce dura, arrabbiata, sarcastica. Magari è la mia impressione, ok? Magari è l'impressione di una parlata che mischia un po' il francese all'inglese, però
Since I left?
Let me show you something.
He wants to video chat. Oh, wow. This is.
il gioco, o meglio la casa del gioco,
Did I ever tell you the story of the lookout? It's a very special place. We were driving, Alex, you and I. It was a really hot day.
Alex, you, noi, cioè Astrid, e io. You.
You had to be 2.5, maybe a bit more. You were already very bright, and you spoke very well. You were always cracking jokes, too. So when you told me your tummy was hurting, I didn't really believe you. I remember clearly thinking, oh, she's okay. Like snow falling from the top of a roof on the first warm
Mi
day.
rendo conto che
Except it wasn't
queste
snow.
che
It was
stiamo
the worst
richiedendo alla
pile of
protagonista
vomit I had
sono
ever
pillole
smelled. When he saw your face in
dolorose,
the rear view,
però
Alex
sarebbe
knew he had to
stupido
stop immediately. He spotted some kind
non
of rest
chiedere
area on the
e non
side of the road.
approfondire quello che è il vero
But
dolore.
in the time it took for us to get there, the stench was so strong in the car, we could hardly breathe. I didn't even wait for the car to stop. I jumped out, went for your door, and squeezed you against me. I didn't care if I got dirty. I just wanted you to feel good. I thought it was my fault. I should have listened to you. Your forehead was hot. It could be serious. I carried you out to the banister on the end of the clearing and laid you on the grass. Your face was pale and your eyes were bulging, and you started. Oh dear! You were vomiting, looking up, staring in the distance, screaming, "Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear!" And I didn't understand. I kept asking you, "What's wrong, baby?" Patting your back, pulling your hair away from your face to help. And there was a pit growing in my stomach, and my eyes were welling up. I was terrified, and your dad was terrified. You were smiling. You pointed in front of you. "Oh dear! Oh!" So we turned around, and on the other side of the banister, there was a cliff going straight down. And down below, there was a prairie stretching
Vedete,
into
anche a questo
leafy
punto,
bushes.
ok,
And in the middle of the
per
prairie,
carità,
there was a deer.
probabilmente si risolve tutto, e ok, e tra l'altro il cervo, un'altra volta, però lasciamo perdere questo. Tutto questo però è stato vissuto dal punto di vista di una madre come qualcosa di preoccupante, in alcuni tratti scherzoso, in alcuni tratti spensierato, Il tutto invece è stato recitato come una poesia. Non lo so. Davvero, sono curioso. È una mia impressione solo? Oppure anche a voi tutto questo sembra meccanico?
I could have written this whole scene. He was standing tall beneath the sunset, as if holding it with, and he was looking at us, completely stunned. Alex took a picture with his cell phone, and you kept repeating, a deer, clapping your hands when he finally jumped out into the bushes. Wow, we were in a daze, you know. We couldn't believe the beauty of what we'd just seen. And then you vomited one last time on your dad's shoes, and that day you became the world's greatest deer fan, my little deer.
Ed ecco spiegata la tazza anche. My little dear.
What are you doing over there?
Do you recognize the place?
Ah, ma
Of
quindi è
course
una
I do.
videochiamata, io
Never
credevo
forget to
avesse
look at.
condiviso una
Time I
foto.
take this road. The other drivers don't get it, of course. They ask me if I need assistance, if I broke down or something. I'm just trying to enjoy the view. It's so beautiful. Today I came here just for that.
Beh,
Why the
mai più
sudden
che
rush
mai
of
nella giornata di
nostalgia?
oggi ti direi di fare attenzione ai cervi, soprattutto se hai ancora qualcosa di irrisolto con te stesso.
Did you see the deer again?
No. I'll never see the deer again. And that.
Alex? You're scaring me a bit. You don't.
I'm not well. You were right, you know. This whole time I thought I was helping you. I thought you needed me so you wouldn't crumble. But that
Questo
was a
era quello che
goddamn
stavo
lie.
dicendo, ragazzi. Non è il
I was the
momento
one who
giusto per
needed you.
dire tutto, non è il
That before
modo
Astrid died, I needed you.
giusto di dirlo.
Helped Junon with her tyrannical mother, helped Junon
Junon,
with her screenwriting career.
Jun, doveva
Show Junon how to be
andarci molto
happy.
più piano.
A good one. It was easier for me to think you had issues. But I was the goddamn issue.
It can't be easy for him to realize this. At least I hope
Immagina
so.
di vedere tutte e due le vite che hai vissuto andare a rotoli. Sia la parte con Pauline, sia la parte con Juno e Astrid. Forse in questo caso c'è la prima vera scelta di gioco. Le altre magari sin qui portavano in un certo qual modo ad approfondimenti. Però qui forse potremmo, in qualche modo, decidere, purtroppo, la vita di Alex. Quindi facciamo davvero attenzione. Ragioniamo sì come Jun, ma allo stesso tempo cerchiamo di far star bene Alex.
You're being harsh, Alex.
I'm not being harsh. That's a fact. And not everyone is as talented as you when it comes to forgetting the ugly stuff.
I remember getting in the car with. I remember waking up in the hospital with Alex. But what happened in between? Apparently, that's pretty during extreme events.
Già,
Your
il
brain does
cervello
not
tende a
generate
scordarsi
memories.
i momenti più forti e
It's too
dolorosi.
busy surviving. I survived, which I guess means that my brain worked. But since then, it's been mulling over this. Was it all? I was half expecting your dad to hold it against me, but it doesn't hurt any less. That was.
I'm just tired and... Do you want to know why I don't think about Astrid? When I think about her, I say things to myself that hurt too much. That I will never see her again. That I will never hear her voice again. That I will never carry her to bed in my arms. How am I supposed to live with that?
Io ho paura che Shun esca un'altra volta con una delle sue battute così all'improvviso anche in momenti come questi. Caspita. Non posso sceglierlo.
It takes time.
Yeah, that's it. Except the more time passes, the worse it gets. And I'm getting tired of waiting.
Sarà questa
What are
volta
you
Alex a
saying?
resettare tutto, vero?
Alex, what are you saying?
This place is as beautiful as ever, you know? Really beautiful. Bye, June. Good luck.
Alex, don't. Alex, shit, I gotta get over there. Shit, Alex.
Calma,
I
Shun,
have
davvero
a
tranquilla.
really bad feeling about this. Alex is strong, but
No, non è forte, Shun. E anzi, il problema è proprio questo.
well,
Come
I've
fai,
never seen him
stando a
like this.
distanza di una persona,
He imagined
sapendo
this,
come in
but if
realtà si
anything
sente,
happens to him, I will
a
never
essere
forget
così
myself.
poco empatica e anzi a buttargli addosso in quel momento la verità, che magari è tale, però in ogni caso fa soffrire. È stata davvero una scelta stupida, la più stupida che potesse prendere. Il tutto naturalmente è scusato, perdonato, tra molte virgolette, da quello che è stato il passato di Jun e la scoperta, ahimè. Ah, questa volta dovremo nuovamente vivere tutto. Continuo a domandarmi perché quello specchietto era già rotto. Forse un po' per mostrarci e farci capire quello che sarebbe successo e il fatto che sia tutto un ricordo.
Do you remember the first time we made love?
How could I forget? Your arm got stuck as you took your shirt off, and you just stood there with your. That picture is forever etched in my.
Were you ever gonna come to my help?
Certainly not. I had waited so long for that moment.
I will always love your father, you know. Being able to strip naked, completely naked, and feeling good anyway. I hope that I will experience this feeling again one day. So I'm happy to have known that once in my life already.
Tutta questa storia è per certo un qualcosa legato alla nostra famiglia, ad Alex, a Shun, ad Astrid. Lo dico l'ultima volta perché mi rendo conto essere triste e sfidente. Ma Pauline in tutto questo? Vi rendete conto che ha perso Alex? Ha perso in qualche modo la fiducia anche che riponeva in lui, che è andato a letto con la sua ex e che prova sentimenti per lei. E allo stesso tempo ha perso anche la fiducia in se stessa perché non è riuscita a capire Alex, che anzi ora sta tentando il suicidio. Probabilmente. Vi rendete conto? Ha iniziato dicendo che Pauline è la sua nuova ragazza, quella che non ha ancora perso la magia nel mondo. Ecco,
All
e
right.
Alex
You
è
settled?
te ad averla
More
fatta
or less.
perdere.
And what are you up to? Are you ready?
Shoot, Jan, how did you know?
Lady, this isn't rocket science. You're just like Mom. It's in your blood. Why do you think Alex has been pushing you all these years? You're the only one who's unaware that you're an artist.
Queste
For a
parole
long
fanno
time,
non poco
I
male.
thought Alex was pushing me to write out of mercy because he thought that it would somehow fill a void in my life. It never occurred to me that maybe I was, and that he had figured it out.
Did what?
Oh, come on. I panicked. I just felt like something shady. If you think I had any time to think. And also,
You're insane? Completely.
you really think so?
Yeah. This is $3,000 whiskey. You could at least have saved me a glass.
I never felt the need to lie to your
Complimenti
father.
a Marie.
I always told him everything because I felt like I can't just ignore other people's judgment. But with Alex, I never felt judged.
Probabilmente perché dovevo ancora vedere tutto questo.
It's time to say goodbye to your dad, I guess. I mean, I can no longer be with him because your absence would take up too much space. And also because I realize now that our relationship had something, but that doesn't take away from who he is or from what he gave me. Our story together is ending, but each of us still exists, and we're even stronger than before because we've grown up, ready, shaken, transformed.
Speriamo, più che altro. Quanto è bella comunque questa frase. Perché la tua assenza occupa troppo spazio. Ho i brividi. Probabilmente questa frase
How was I
darà
supposed to live with that?
il nome all'episodio.
Today it's your dad who feels like his heart is in a million pieces, and this time I'm the one who can help him understand that it's not all broken. I don't
Ecco,
know.
questa
What happened
scelta,
to
per
us
quanto
was
l'avevo
as
prevista, mi
unfair
dà
as
da
it
pensare che
gets.
il fatto che il gioco non
I
abbia
understand why it
effettivamente delle
looks
scelte
impossible
multiple,
to
ma sia
overcome.
semplicemente una
But I also
storia
know
così
that you will
raccontata,
find a
con
way.
vari approfondimenti che noi
That's who you are,
possiamo
Alex.
andare a indagare.
You always find solutions. I'm actually trying to learn that from.
Eh,
Do you remember the
lasciamo perdere lo
Gardiner?
stalker.
What are you talking about?
When Astrid dropped Stinky Moose and he fell on the tracks, the train pulled in and she was crying her entire life. I was already picturing Stinky Moose split in half. And what did you do?
I borrowed a selfie stick from a tourist.
You lay down on the platform and fished out Stinky Moose just in time. And you gave him back to Astrid without even cleaning him up, you filthy slob.
Are you still hung up on that? The whole thing was a rush. I wasn't thinking.
You'll be all right, Alex. Sometimes you need to let go of things you thought would be forever. But
caspita.
you're still here. Unbreak. And to be honest, Pauline is totally Eva Mendes.
Come on, you're stupid. You know I'm not actually Ryan Gosling, right?
Just let me...
Thank you, Junon. Do you think it was damaging, us being together?
To each other or to ourselves?
Probabilmente to each others. Per fortuna in questo caso il carattere esuberante o forse sviante di Jun è servito a tirare su Alex, almeno per un po', però non funziona così. Tutti abbiamo vissuto quel momento in cui ci sentivamo giù, in cui stavamo male. Oh, per chi non l'ha vissuto, sono felice per voi, ma per chi l'ha vissuto sa che non basta la battuta, la barzelletta. Quella pacca sulla spalla per poi andarsene non è quello che serve. Serve tant'altro. È un po' riduzionistico il gioco in questo, però concediamoglielo, è pur sempre un gioco, un'esperienza che deve vivere e che dobbiamo vivere.
You know what they say about falling in love? It's just finding someone whose parents messed up in similar ways how your parents messed up.
What about parents who messed us up, but we can't really put a finger on how?
They count double. They're the worst.
I'm sorry for what I said about Marie. I hope she gets better.
It's okay, Alex. I'm not going to blame you for always
Mi ha
being
solo
on my
chiuso la
side.
chiamata all'inizio
Did
e
you
sono
go
stata
see her?
arrabbiata tutto il tempo.
No.
You should, because you never know.
You're right. Of course he's right. Then why is it so...
Junon, I need to tell you something. I know that you don't remember the accident, and I know you can't help it. And I know it's not fair, but I resent you for that, and it scares me.
I'd like to believe that knowing what happened that day wouldn't change a thing. But I know that's not because there are only two options. My daughter is dead. I killed my daughter.
E quindi quale
Scary.
sceglierai?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel really angry. I think that
Ed è
not
giusto
knowing
così.
is driving me crazy. So if one day you do remember something, anything really, please tell me.
I don't know if I will, but I'll try, Alex.
You don't owe me a thing, June. You already gave me the best year.
Damn! Pulitzer
Oh,
Prize for
zitta
wisdom.
Jun, ti
No,
prego,
I'm
zitta.
competing in the batch. I've got to go, June.
Don't do anything stupid, okay?
What? No way. Did I sound that depressed to you?
A little bit, yeah.
I just need to... I'm
Quindi
going to call
Jun,
Pauline, actually.
in questo
Say hi
caso,
to the
si
ensemble.
ricorda di quello che è
And
successo?
good luck with your mom.
I think so too.
Non è nei miei interessi, però sii
What a
sincero con Pauline,
conversation.
per favore.
But I think it really helped us. Why couldn't we talk like this? That depends on what before we're talking. Before you were born? Before you died?
Mai, perché in verità tu
Or before
non
we
eri
split up?
così. Come ho detto nel precedente episodio, il voler in qualche modo sanare se stessi con gli altri non è una buona idea. E probabilmente non avete mai parlato così, quindi
Before we split up, I think we didn't feel like talking, and Alex was paralyzed with fear. Talking about what happened. Me, on the other hand,
chissà se ora è arrivato il
I miss you a
momento
lot.
effettivo in cui dovremo vedere Marie.
Hey, what are you doing here? Did you follow me? It's forbidden to be here. Hey, wait!
A parte che non
Where
sai
are these
neanche
kids'
dov'è
parents?
Lear, hai detto tu stesso che non sapevi dove ti trovavi in questa parte dell'ospedale. Non è nostra figlia, non è Astrid,
I've
vero?
been run. Hey, can you hear me?
Insomma, l'avrebbe riconosciuta.
Hello,
Che
this
bello.
kid. I swear. Anyone here? There she is. What is she up to? Hey, get down from there. It's
Don't worry, Mom. It's fine.
Allora, è Astrid e lei non l'ha riconosciuta. Astrid, tua figlia, quella che hai perso, la persona più importante della tua vita, la persona che continui a sognare ogni notte, Tu l'hai vista lì di spalle, ok, magari per un momento fugace, ma non ti è neanche parso in mente per un secondo che potesse trattarsi di lei. Jun, va tutto bene? Caspita.
No, no, no. Seriously though, what is happening? Am I going crazy?
Lo stiamo vedendo. Dobbiamo girarci.
What happened that day? There's no way I forgot everything. It's gotta be there somewhere. But it's still such a blur.
È sempre stato qui. In questo biglietto c'è scritto Don't forget, ragazzi. Io ho tanta paura di vedere nello specchietto Astrid e scoprire che questa è la notte dell'incidente, per quanto è strano perché la macchina è la
Will you be
stessa,
sticking
quindi
around this time, or
What the hell is happening?
hey, what's up with the curse words? Are they allowed now?
Did you just hear what I was thinking?
Are you surprised? You've been talking to me in your head for years. Was I supposed to leave you hanging forever?
Is it really you?
Nope. It couldn't possibly be the real me, seeing how I'm. You know, like Dad used to say, there's
parlerebbe
nothing
così.
wrong with asking questions. Just make sure you think before you ask.
Sono stato forse duro prima con la protagonista. Non sta bene, non sta per certo bene. Tutta questa situazione ce lo sta facendo capire decentemente. E caspita, non è lei, non è un fantasma. Vuol dire che qui dentro, vuol dire che dentro di te non puoi avere risposte se non quelle che già conosci. Al massimo puoi sapere quanto hai dimenticato, ma non di più. Tutto il resto sarebbe immaginazione o speculazione.
So what? Oh, maybe I'm finally going crazy.
I'm not a ghost. At least, I don't think. Let's just say that I'm here. Isn't that good enough?
It's more than good enough, my little fawn. This is the best thing that's happened to me in a long time.
Quindi in questo momento noi spettatori, noi giocatori cosa diventiamo se non siamo più lei?
Mom, am I really scaring you?
Hey, don't do that. Did nobody teach you it's rude to read people's minds?
How about you stop thinking and talk to me instead?
Questa frase, per quanto colloquiale in questo momento, sarebbe un credere in qualcosa che non è vero, una menzogna.
I'm so happy to see you.
So am I. And I think.
Oh, thank you, little fawn. I only sleep about 5 hours a night. My hair is so dirty that it won't budge even if I... And I'm smoking more than the Amazon rainforest under Bolsonaro.
I've noticed. That's very bad, by the way. That's tough
Solita
kills,
battuta,
Mom.
solito gioco di parole. Freddo e atipico.
Would that be so bad?
Lame. If you really were gonna kill yourself, wouldn't you have done it by now?
You're pretty sharp for an imaginary...
Come on, let's check out what's upstairs. Oh, wow.
Ho davvero
Astrid,
paura di questa situazione.
I'm sorry, Astrid.
Sorry for what?
You know.
I have no idea. I don't read minds anymore. My mom raised me better than that.
That's cute, little fawn. I'm so
La verità è che
sorry.
dovresti dirlo, ecco perché.
That wasn't a joke.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's just. Do you remember?
Allora, no, non ricordiamo cosa è successo, ma se dico sì, il personaggio inizia a ricordare.
Of course I do. I was driving you to Mina's birthday party. And
Okay, I know that. But how did it happen? See? That's why I was laughing. You totally forgot how it happened. For all you know, we were struck by a meteor through the windshield or something. So I ask again, why are you sorry?
Stop it. I know what you're trying to do, but whatever happened, it was me, Astrid. It was my fault.
All right. You're not ready to talk. You need more time to think.
Questa è la scena madre di questo
Astrid,
episodio. Non siamo pronte per
back.
parlare. Normale. E sì, lei non sta cercando di fare nulla. Astrid non sta cercando di fare niente.
Needs more
Siamo
time to
noi,
think. What am I even talking
semplicemente, che
about?
stiamo
I'm mulling over
cercando
my dead
di
daughter's
ricordare.
imaginary advice. I'm going off the deep end here.
Quante cose sono escluse in questo gioco? Nostra madre, Marie, che è ancora lì. Nostra sorella, abbandonata in caffetteria. C'è un motivo per se il cervello ha scordato tutto questo e non è semplicemente per la sopravvivenza, come ha detto nel secondo episodio. No, magari abbiamo visto un qualcosa che ci ha fatto soffrire così tanto che difficilmente dimenticheremo per sempre. Di conseguenza, questa cosa può essere anche nostra figlia, in un modo orribile, insanguinata, e qualsiasi altra cosa possa essere.
What does it mean to be a
Ricordarlo
mother?
non farà proprio bene, in nessun
Is it
modo.
being 100% focused on your child? Is it always knowing what to do? Never having any doubt? Is it sacrificing your ambitions?
Quanto hai detto no?
If you do all that, are you automatically a good mom? And what if you don't manage it? Does that make you a bad mom? I've asked myself all of these questions a lot. Do you want to try and find an answer together?
Penso che l'ideale, per quanto io non possa capire l'essere madre, può essere un semplice do your best, del tuo meglio. Naturalmente sapendo quali sono meno le principali cose brutte. No,
Good mom? Bad mom?
noi siamo molto negative.
Okay, let's start with the dark thoughts.
Sì,
The ones that's not even your.
questo specchietto è sempre qui.
You didn't imagine having an incredible daughter and a
E
job you
Facebook.
wanted, and then you get glued to a screen and it bums you out. I would see people on social media, people I would never even have heard, and they were great parents, great artists, working on great stuff, having great
È quello che
success.
si mostra appunto sui
Everybody
social
seemed,
media.
how dared I aspire to being?
Non credo. È una cosa molto fittizia.
A couple of months before you were born, Marie showed up with a cardboard box under her arm. She had found the mobile. When I was preparing for your arrival, I
E tra
hung it
l'altro era
above
già
your crib.
presente
After
quando
you were
eravamo
born, I
piccole.
was always moving, finding its balance. Wonderful. And also so fragile. A mere gust of wind could have shattered it to a million pieces. Just like you.
È esattamente quello che siamo. Super negative. Vi rendete conto, vero?
58 tons per year. A kid equals 58 tons of carbon. That's the same as 58 plane trips to New York and back. Having a baby in this world, as everything was collapsing around us, that was a stupid idea.
Sì, è anche uno dei motivi per cui le persone stanno smettendo sempre più di fare figli. Se una persona pensa al futuro del figlio, di certo non vuole il peggio per lui. E questo
I
mondo,
know.
almeno dal punto di vista
Spinning while
climatico,
on a cell. Well, that only happened once.
non è perso,
Or
ma siamo lì
maybe
per lì.
twice. I loved connecting with you. It was a magnetic force. Time dissipates. Sometimes I was overwhelmed by the earth that keeps on spinning, the anxiety of not doing enough, projects at a standstill while others are. And then the fear that it would. That's always a little bit there.
È una cosa che sta notando solo ora.
I think I was strong.
Ma per quanto riguarda l'essere una cattiva madre, mi stai dicendo che hai le ciabatte o comunque le scarpe sul letto? È un mostro.
Because, you know, the life of a mom is also full of fun moments.
Tipo il vomito che ci hai raccontato prima.
I was so fired up by your birth. I felt like I was high on drugs. I was taking care of you, working, seeing friends. Alex and I even became involved in politics. We were trading weekends to attend climate march. I was ready to fight to make a change in the world.
Ah? Che bello il sorriso di Junon in questo momento.
That was the year before you were born. Alex had been on my ass to get in touch with the friend of a cousin of one of his friends who was a producer. I was supposed to schedule a meeting with him during the next Cannes festival. I wasn't planning on going to Cannes at all.
Addirittura.
But I managed to slip into a party where I eventually met the guy. It worked out! Yeah! We spent the night smoking cigs, sounding off about the worst turkeys from the festival. And a few weeks later, I was writing a
Sono felice per te, suppongo.
It kind of came out of nowhere. I was feeling gunky and I was a bit late, so I decided to take a test without putting too much stock into it. And here is the picture I sent to your dad. I remember that the stick wasn't even dry yet. Can you imagine the surprise? In my head,
Suppongo.
I could be infertile. Maybe my hips weren't built properly. I would probably have a bunch of miscarriages. And especially, I was not up to the task of becoming a mother. As soon as I saw the test, my head exploded, my little fawn. I was, just happy. Nothing else. It was... I found it adorable that Marie came to bring us this mobile. And yet, I was scared when I learned I was pregnant. I was scared at the mere idea of telling her. It was beyond me. I panicked. So I decided to hide you. Obviously, she eventually noticed.
Un'altra di quelle
that I
cose
was
che ha deciso di
pregnant.
nascondere.
And her reaction was, she was jumping for joy. Why had I been so scared? Thus, within the span of a year, I delivered 2 babies. Astrid, in January, just over 8 pounds, hungry as a wolf,
Caspita.
and a mug to die. And then, my first professional screenplay in August. 47 pages. All of a sudden, things just fell into place. I was a screenwriter. I was getting paid for... Sure, it was a crappy series, but that...
Beh, è un inizio, è comunque un nostro primo successo lavorativo. È addirittura definito come il nostro secondo figlio.
I lost sleep over it.
Ma lo trovo giustissimo.
Oh, wow. I just remembered something that happened years ago. I was in my room, staring at this mobile. I don't know why I'd kept it hung to the ceiling up to... Marie was in the next room, the living room, giving an interview. I overheard her talking to the journalist with a soft voice. She was obviously trying to win her over. It was funny at first. She was giving all these juicy details about the crazy nights of a female artist. And then she said she got pregnant after one of those nights. And at that time, she seriously thought about giving up the child. And suddenly, I understood that that child, the one she didn't want, that was me.
Altro colpo al cuore. Altra cosa triste. Altro momento inaspettato.
For me, being a mom was one of the greatest joys in my life. I wanted to feel you growing inside of me and then meet you and live all that, the whole experience. And writing was the same. I really wanted to do it, and then I actually did. I wanted these things. I bore them and I cherished them. But because I was scared. But really, most of all, I had this lingering feeling that
Quanto sono profondi questi pensieri.
I lost you.
Soprattutto chi è mamma, chi lo è stata, chi lo sarà.
Back with a vengeance.
E puoi immaginare, sentire, aver pensato queste cose deve essere davvero forte.
Enough.
Nel bene e nel male, purtroppo. Però, pensiamo positivo, caspita ragazzi. Magari c'è tanto di bello, per fortuna, nel ricordare questi momenti di insicurezza, questi momenti di paura,
Why are
questi
you so...
momenti in cui non si è pronti.
It's hard to be a good parent when you're a damaged adult. You become responsible for a life. That requires courage, confidence, and it's really easy to get it wrong.
What does that mean?
How can I? For the first few months of your life, you were like an extension of me. You couldn't talk, you couldn't walk, you could barely see, and I was feeding you out of
Un
my own
parassita.
body.
Yuck.
Yeah. Having your life in my hands. That's what being a mom was all about to me. And then one day, I read a book.
A book? Not a movie?
Nope.
Lo so,
No
è
movie
strano.
images, just tiny written.
What was it?
Heart Snatcher by Boris Vian. Weird and also terrifying, in a way.
That sounds fun.
Well, actually, it's great. And perhaps you will read it one day. You'll never read it.
You're right. I won't. But you can still tell me about it.
Se fai parte effettivamente di un'estensione della mia mente, sai bene
All right.
quello di cui
Well, thanks.
parla.
And gives them these stupid names. As they grow up, she starts to behave increasingly.
Such as?
She cuts down trees in her backyard because she thinks that the triplets might climb them and get hurt. So why risk it? And that's not all.
What else?
She starts imagining things, these situations where horrible things happen to the kids.
Okay. I understand why you might enjoy this book.
Infatti, ora capisco
What makes you
anch'io
say
perché gli
that?
piace.
No reason. Does she do any other weird...
She eats rotten meat.
Ew! Mom,
I told you, it's weird.
why is she doing that?
At first, she does it so that the kids get the best bits. But after a while, she starts to think that if something bad happens to her, she would be
Mi
sort of
domando
like
come
a
mai.
lightning rod, you know?
All I know is that this sounds really...
Definitely. But I remember reading that part, sitting in and I looked at you, sleeping in the crib, and
For real?
I knew it was crazy. But the idea of doing anything for your children, of never failing, because you've done everything. There was just one thing I didn't know yet. The most important part of being a parent, and also the hardest lesson to learn. You need to trust your children.
Più che altro
Trust them
sentirlo.
to read non-weird books?
Sì,
You weren't
sentirlo è
there
la
so
cosa
I could
ideale.
feel like you were there to live your life. Seems obvious, doesn't it? But I didn't see it. So I spent a lot of my time feeling guilty. Telling myself that I didn't deserve you.
Vedere i nostri
What?
occhi sempre
I
più
don't
rossi.
believe it.
Really?
Of course. You're relentless. You even found the time to work on your script. You were working your ass off to make your stories amazing while you were busy taking care of me. How did you manage to be strong like that?
I mean, your father was
Tuo
there as
padre era
well.
anche qui per
I
aiutarmi.
know. Imagine.
Oh, come on.
Mom, you know that in my view, he probably regards mental fortitude as a kind of super...
Povero
It
Alex.
was really hard. I almost gave up so many times. My career wasn't going where I wanted, certainly, but I held on.
Ora, per quanto può essere una cosa stupida, ok? Voi immaginate, in tutto questo ospedale un inserviente che sale e trova questa persona da sola a parlare sul tetto, in terza persona, a parlare con la videocamera, col giocatore, con la figlia immaginaria. Ok? Sarebbe molto strano. O se non altro, prenderemo per mano Jun, gli diremo che ha bisogno di qualcosa di serio, di un viaggio in se stessa e non da sola, non solo sotto il termine del gioco.
I was just happy to write. After years of writer's block, everything unlocked all at once. I think it was your arrival that liberated me somehow. Every morning was magical. I'd grab you in my arms. You'd smile back. I had no more doubt, no more questions. I knew exactly who I was. No one had ever looked at me that way.
It's just a shame you spent your best years writing for soap opera.
Wow. You do. It's a bit silly, isn't it?
What
Un
is?
poco, ma non c'è
All of
nulla di
this,
strano.
me talking to you right now.
O meglio, nulla di strano visto quello che hai vissuto.
You're not even real.
Hey, just because
Marie is on death's door, and I'm out here chatting with my daughter's
Ed
ghost.
è la cosa più strana di
I
tutte.
told you I'm not a ghost, and I love chatting with you, just getting to know you better.
It's a little late for that, don't you think?
It's never too late for a good story. That's what you always say.
I say a lot of stupid.
And if you'd written down half the ones you told me at bedtime, you'd be rich. Do you remember the one with the horse tribe that does karate?
Ninja Palooza?
Yeah. And the duck who kept solving crimes around the farm while drunk.
Inspector Drunkass.
Dite
No
stranezze
one's going
da
to finish
scrittrice.
that.
That's too bad. It would be a lot better than Marie's books of Russian folk tales.
Those books were a snooze.
Right?
Then why did you hug her so hard every time she bought you a new set?
Because you can be a child and still know how to be diplomatic. Where are you up to with your script?
I haven't looked at it in ages.
Is your job for Grandma taking too much time?
Ci vuole
Getting
tempo.
myself out of bed is taking too much.
Oh, come on. Stop it. The whole depressive thing doesn't suit you.
And, to be honest, I'm not too fond of the whole petulant tween. I liked it better when you were 4 years old.
What are you going to do? Give me a space.
Oh, I suppose you're too old for...
Non si fa scherzare così tanto, che la felicità di riabbracciarla, ragazzi. E sì, se mi vedete spesso con gli occhi in basso è semplicemente perché sto pensando a quanto tutto questo può essere logorante, immedesimandomi nella protagonista e facendo e un respiro profondo, quello che mi vedete fare nel viso. Devo guardare più la telecamera, me ne rendo conto.
Oh, you've grown up so much. A proper mini Astrid Offerson.
No, sei sempre tu, Jun.
Never mind. It isn't important. But first things first. Why do you still have that thing on your head?
I know. So corny.
Oh, you say that now.
Forse perché
Back
stavamo
then,
andando
you
al
loved
compleanno.
your computer princess costume. You just had to wear it to Mina's birthday.
What can I say? I was young and dumb.
And now you're all old and wise.
I'm glad we agree. I'm becoming more and more like you.
Excuse me?
Don't be modest. You've done pretty well so far.
Wait, what do you mean by so far?
Well, with Auntie Jan and Dad. You struggled for a bit, but eventually you managed to find the right words. That was impressive.
Well, not really.
Più che I'm lost, I lost you.
I'm lost. I'm completely lost.
I've seen worse.
Really?
Do you remember my room? Now that was a mess.
Oh, my little
Capisco questi
fawn.
momenti per tirare su il giocatore,
Before
magari
you were born,
non che la protagonista, ma non lo so, sarà che io l'affronterei in maniera diversa.
I was so terrified.
Of what?
No. Which is weird, actually, because objectively speaking, the thought of pushing a head as big as a coconut through my vagina...
Mom, you're so gross. I mean,
Più che
it's
altro,
not like
che
you're
schifo.
gonna traumatize me, but
Sono
I meant
traumatizzato io
last
giocatore,
night,
non
remember? So
preoccupatevi.
what was it that was so scary then?
E anche voi
I was going to
spettatori,
share
mi
my
spiace
life with
community.
someone for the first time.
Guardate il lato
But you were
positivo,
already
cuore,
sharing
è
it
stato
with
molto
Dad.
peggio.
It's not this. We love each other very much, me and your dad, but we knew I still care about him a lot, but things will never be the same between us. With you, I knew it was for life.
And that was scary?
I was a little afraid of losing myself. When you were born, I knew only one thing. I'd never be alone again. That's how it was supposed to be, but I screwed it up. I was a shitty parent. Just like I was a shitty daughter and a shitty wife. And I lost you.
Mom, stop. You really think that What?
I abandoned you. And I think about it all the time, whenever I close my eyes.
What happens when you close your eyes?
I feel the shards of glass on my skin, on beneath my feet. I see the crown of your hair, sparkling like a tiny sunshine. And then
Stiamo
how
ricordando.
can I ever be happy
Eppure ci
if
siamo
that's
persi una
not
parte
you?
del discorso, l'avete notato?
Mom, thinking about it like that, I mean,
I don't want to. If I stopped thinking about it, that would be like killing you all over again. Astrid,
Forse nasconderla e far finta che
don't
non sia
leave
mai
me, Astrid.
successo,
I don't want you
ma
to leave.
tenere questo momento abbracciato a noi è il vero dimenticarla.
I think it's coming back. Yes, it is. Just try a little harder, Junon. I need to dig deeper.
Cosa possono essere gli occhiali?
Really? Do I have to? Do I need to recall this particular exhibit of Marie's? It's a nice memory for her, obviously, but for me it's pretty bitter, even though I can't explain why exactly.
La rabbia nei confronti di Marie.
A lot of memories came back to me that night. I would stand in the middle of the gallery with my eyes closed, and they'd crop up as if they were connected in some way. Come to think of it, there may be something to unearth in my own personal exhibit. We'll see. Let me show you around.
Caspita. Vivere tutte le memorie così.
You know this tableau, my little fawn? It's been gathering dust in the back of my personal collection. I haven't displayed it in ages. Here the artist is depicting her first day at the beach with her. Do you remember?
Chissà se Marie ha creato un qualcosa riguardo la nipote.
We were already imagining you as a teenager with like 7,933 Hey, if it was between that or weed, we weren't sure which would be worse. The weather was so nice that day. We had eaten ice cream under the big umbrella. Then you pulled out your little tongue, your head got close to my arm, and I felt something cold and wet above my elbow. You taste salty, you said. You came up to me with a huge
Ecco la
seashell.
conchiglia.
I never understood. You handed it to me with great pomp and told me I had to write a I complained. I don't know his life. I have no idea what he's thinking about. If he's sad, and then you asked me. So, and
Chissà quante storielle della buonanotte ci sono state.
suddenly I felt it welling up in my heart and my stomach. And then, that's it. That's what I wanted to write about. I'd totally forgotten this, but at one point in my life, I wanted to write about happiness.
Dovresti. Eppure sei qui a scrivere invece della tua vita. Però chissà, magari alla fine sarà un qualcosa che darà gioia a qualcun altro. Questa terribile, ragazzi. Io spero di sbagliarmi. Se qui ci sono le ceneri.
Since the dawn of time, people have needed rituals to mark the big life event. Here, the artist is depicting her final farewell to her daughter. At least that's what she thought at the time. One day, on a whim, I made the call. I didn't tell your father. I didn't feel like explaining. I just called Diane, and I told her to meet me over there.
È sbagliato non aver comunque coinvolto Alex.
I'll be
Poi si chiede come mai si
I
sente
was
male per
crying
tanti
when we
motivi.
arrived at the cliff overlooking the beach. Jan gently took out the urn from my hands, opened it towards the sea, and she said, Donnie was a good bowler and a good man. He was a man who loved the outdoors and bowling. I burst out laughing and snot splurted out of my nose all over my fucking chin. And Jan was laughing too, and 1,000 particles of you flew out around us, all up in my hair.
Fa
Neither
male,
Alex nor I
che
could
schifo
picture
anche,
you in a
però
tiny
wow.
coffin. We really preferred that you remained with us.
Quella risata
Like
così
fine sand in a big
sembra quasi un
lake. That
delirio,
was
per
too
quanto
heavy. I
è
kept thinking.
capibile.
I thought it would be freeing to see you leave like this. That was the goal of this ceremony, but now I know that it didn't work. It didn't make me feel free, rather made me feel the emptiness. Here, the artist is depicting herself on the bus, back from the shore.
E
Outside, the setting
ritorno.
sun represents... Is it the end of something?
Sappiamo, è stato letteralmente un
I
nuovo
was
inizio.
holding your urn against me the whole way back. It was empty, but it felt heavier than ever before. I was all by my lonesome on the bus back, with just a few specks of you. I looked outside the window, and this poem came to my mind. It's Lamartine. I had to learn it by heart in high school. Setting or just rising in a sky clear or gray, what good is the sun? Were I to track the whole long course of his travel, my eyes would just witness all the void, and I desire nothing that he could ever disperse. I don't demand a thing from the great universe.
Il vuoto più
That's what
totale.
I felt when I came back from the cliff. The poem, the empty bus, the urn on my knees. Back then, I thought it was a good thing. I said to myself, maybe I can start writing now that this is done. And then... I remember almost every word of the pretentious card next to Marie's painting. The auto-portrait series is undoubtedly Marie de Mange's most ambitious work to date. She arranges herself in a discomfiting position, ripe with malaise, and also a certain erotic. Self-portrait number 8 is the final entry in the series, and one of the most powerful paintings of the 21st century.
Cosa c'è scritto?
I couldn't believe how many paintings Marie had done since you died. Meanwhile, I couldn't write for my life. It made no sense anymore. When I left Alex, I did get started on something, as if separating from him had... But after a few months, nothing I had written was worth...
È giusto così. Chissà quanto deve essere stato in qualche modo confusionario quel
Apparently,
periodo.
the critics and the public
Tanto da
loved
prendere
it.
scelte come quella di
It
non
was
far
the
venire Alex
series
in quel
from
momento.
which everything started for Marie. I must say that there was something vibrant in these paintings, a sweet and vulnerable mystery in her eyes. It made me sick. I never could bring it up with Marie. But I'm sure that these paintings were actually inspired by the accident. The ground she's lying on, I can almost guarantee you it's pavement. And her
Fiona più che altro.
discombobulated body, as if her bones were broken. No one knows that except me. I believe she painted you instead of her. Why on earth would she make such a twisted thing, do you think? Those paintings made me so angry. I kept thinking this. Marie
È
is
una certa
feeding off
emozione
of
che lei ha
my
voluto in qualche
bereavement.
modo
Through her
trasmettere.
art, she managed to turn what
E se da
happened into
disturbo,
something else.
magari è quello che deve dare.
I, on the other hand, had nowhere left to go in that moment. I couldn't do it anymore. My bag of happiness was ripped to shreds.
Eppure siamo sempre più vicini invece a quello
Thank you
che
for when
è
I see
essere
all
un
of this
ricordo
again. I wonder what
totale di
made me
quello che è
think that
successo.
making you disappear would take the pain away. Attempting to erase every bit of you meant locking me out of this incredible little room inside my heart. The place that gave me life. The place now I know that I need to keep that space for you within myself so that I can write and I can live.
Discorso finale con Astrid. Successivamente chiuderemo l'episodio. E nel prossimo ci sarà per
Really think
certo
that
il confronto
What?
con noi stesse e con nostra madre. Ecco, in questo caso però non serviva riavvolgere il tempo, non serviva tornare a un momento della conversazione esattamente come è successo con gli altri. In questo caso, essendo nostra figlia, Astrid in questo momento, parte di noi stessi e della nostra memoria, avrei interrogato tutto. Avrei fatto in modo che lei se ne andasse quando noi non dicevamo la verità, quando noi eravamo confuse, quando noi non ricordavamo, e l'avrei fatta tornare in altri momenti, come in questo, in cui il nostro ragionamento ci ha portato ad altre conclusioni. Non avrei fatto un riavvolgimento.
No, of course not, my little fox. But when you died, I found myself in an impossible situation. I was thinking about you all the time. I kept telling myself it was my fault you weren't here anymore. It's awful to love someone that much, you know?
On the contrary, I think it's beautiful.
Sure, it's beautiful and awful. So I looked for a solution.
How?
Cioè,
I did what I always do. I watched movies.
Like what?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's about a couple who are...
Mom.
I know. I just wasn't in the mood for rom-coms at the time. If I had been, I wouldn't have gone for something starring Jim Carrey.
tutte citazioni alla
In the
cultura pop,
movie,
tra
there's a
l'altro.
machine that erased Jim Carrey is heartbroken, so he uses that machine. That's what I tried to do with you.
Except you didn't have a machine.
No, I had medication, I had a job, and I thought that if I could get you out of my head, I might be able to feel better.
Did it work?
Of course not. Why should it? That wasn't the right way to handle things.
Questa è un po' alla base di quelli che sono i sepolcri di
To be able
Foscolo,
to think
insomma.
about you every day.
È un luogo, sì, ma spesso il resto lo portiamo con noi ed è giusto che sia così, caspita.
I think about the downy little fluff on your arms, glistening in the
Io ho
evening
paura
sun.
di leggere queste cose, ragazzi, ho paura di essere felice
I think about your
mentre
birthday
raccontiamo tutti
pizza.
questi momenti perché so che da un momento all'altro vedremo un
For
incidente.
your fourth
E
birthday,
non so quanto
you
il
didn't
gioco
want
possa
a
essere
cake and
crudo,
asked for a
non credo che lo
four-cheese
sia,
pizza.
però sarà
Your
forte
father
per
was so
certo.
proud. I think about the smell of your sweat when we got back from chasing pigeons at the park. Then we'd hop in the shower together to wash away the dust. I think about all of it, little dear. And it's a reminder that you are here with me. I carry that with me into every decision I have to make. And I won't let it go for the world. I'm better now, you know? It still hurts like hell. But I get it. On a good day, I can even convince myself that it could be worse. I might have never fallen in love with Alex.
Really?
Do I need to remind you that he's a video game developer? Those guys are terrible conversationalists.
Io ho paura di andare a vedere alla fine di questa storia e scoprire Alex nei titoli.
You helped me open doors inside myself. That's what allowed me to grow. Of course, I'll go on without you. I have to.
How does the book end?
What book?
Heart Snatcher.
Well, the triplets eat blue slugs, and then they fly away from their mother.
Obviously, blue slugs. And are they?
Very much.
There are two lessons here. First, Boris Vian was really odd. But also second, sometimes there's no sense fighting what will happen anyway. You said it yourself to Auntie Diane. Remember? I understand why you're sad, Mom.
Deciditi, Astrid, sei vera o no? E non dico tangibile, ma come sentimenti, sei cosciente o no di essere un'immaginazione? Perché certe volte si pone a noi dicendoci sì, capisco perché sei triste, ti capisco ora, ah, che schifo, vuoi traumatizzarmi? No, non penserei quello, non mi interessa di quel libro. Altre volte dice semplicemente di essere cosciente, di essere un'immaginazione, un fantasma, no? Ma un fantasma nella nostra memoria, sì. È un po' confuso in questa parte, per quanto non è necessario che sia ben spiegata, anzi, la confusione lascia un po' quell'annone di mistero, ci fa sentire come la protagonista, confusa in questo momento. Però sembra più che altro una confusione a livello di scrittura, per farsi emozionare e allo stesso tempo per farci vivere Astrid.
I need to be...
You can be so egotistical sometimes.
Excuse me?
Where do I fit into all this?
But I was just...
So what? I'm going to be a bad memory for the rest of your life? A distressing thought inside your head? Do you even realize what that means?
Oh, what are you scared of, my little...
I'm scared that I'll disappear.
C'è un problema,
You're already
tu non
dead?
sei la
That's not the
bambina,
point.
tu sei un
I'm talking
ricordo.
about disappearing from here. This is the only place where I still exist. But I don't want to be this rusty nail that's killing you by degrees. You do realize that's not me at all? You do know that if you keep at this, I'm not going to exist anywhere. You don't have to do this to me, Mom. You don't have to do this to yourself. How much longer do I have to make you miserable?
Oh. È sbagliato. Ok? Il modo in cui lei ci sta parlando, per quanto possa essere magari anche un super io invadente in questo momento a parlarci, cosa che è molto probabile che sia, non è così. È giusto prendersi del tempo per la tristezza, per quanto sia altrettanto sì giusto andare avanti No, non buttatela, sviluppatori intendo in questo caso, su questo. Lei sta parlando di lei come bambina. Vuoi che io esista solo qui? Vuoi che sia solo un ingranaggio arrugginito? Vuoi per sempre rimanere triste? È forte.
It's all my fault.
Stop it, Mom. Just stop. I know that this can be easy to process. But right here, right now, really,
You have to remember.
I'm not sure. What are you talking about?
Lo sai
Astrid?
bene.
Astrid!
Uh!
She's right. Of course she's right.
Sì, certo.
I need to remember now. It's time. I think I'm ready.
Alla prossima, ragazzi. Perdonatemi se interrompo il momento del genere. So che la suspense è alle stelle, ma so altrettanto che tanti sentimenti sono stati provati in questo episodio, tantissimi, magari anche negativi. Non voglio appesantirmi e appesantirvi. Ci sta prendersi una pausa tra un momento e l'altro del gioco, ed è giusto che venga fatto. Dico appesantirvi, non per una noia, ma per una grandezza di sentimenti in qualche modo forti, che ok, hanno un lieto fine, però creano quell'angoscia, quel malessere dentro, che può essere forte per alcuni. Quindi la durata dell'episodio comunque sembra essere, almeno dalla registrazione, abbastanza. Noi ci vediamo con la conclusione. Il prossimo sarà davvero forte. Pensare che dovremo affrontare questo, che dovremo affrontare noi stessi e probabilmente tutte le persone con cui abbiamo parlato, per poi andare a vedere Marie. E lì ci sarà lo snodo del gioco. In quel momento ci sarà da capire se il gioco effettivamente userà, dandoci una spiegazione, dandoci un qualche tipo di verità tramite Marie e tramite naturalmente la nostra protagonista, oppure se lascerà tutto evanescente. In entrambi i casi si tratterà di una bellissima opera. Però se usa e lo fa bene, sarà davvero wow. Ho quasi paura. E per questo aspetto voi, però. Forse sto parlando solo per me. Però il peso si sente. Colpa dell'empatia, forse. O dell'immedesimazione.